What's up, everybody? If you're new here, my name is Crumble. I play DeadPoly kind of occasionally. I used to do it a lot, but we're coming back into it more. It's a game that's been on my channel for a long time now, even my previous channels, and it's something I've always enjoyed. But yeah, so anyway, I'm Crumble, and we are going to be talking about a lot of things today, and it's a lot of things revolving around DeadPoly specifically, between the creator Q&A that was done, as well as stuff that has been popping over on Discord for news and updates and everything else too. So I'm gonna bring up this Q&A because I know there were some people that watched it, but not a lot. But I want to talk about what was said during the Q&A. I didn't get a chance to get over there, unfortunately, but I watched the VOD again. If you want to see the VOD, just go over to Twitch and DeadPoly, and it's on his previous list. So Cameron did touch on a lot of things. While we're talking about this, I'm gonna try and build my gate. We'll kind of see how it goes. It probably won't go pretty well, but I want to get my wall done. My wall being here, we're gonna go that way and then back that way. Really simple. We'll see. I'm not always the best at multitasking, but we'll try. So there's going to be a next update coming out. His next update coming out, it's going to be coming from a lot of feedback. He did a huge feedback area that touched on a lot of things on what people kind of want, what people are seeing, things like that. What he believes was super important. That is not, where is my stuff? It's going to take me a minute, okay? There's so many different games that I play, and all the different inventory systems are completely different. It's fine. It's fine. It is what it is. Anyway, so he's gonna be taking things that he thought was important coming from there, as well as things that he's been wanting to add and things that need to happen. I'm not entirely sure what all this is in detail, but that's pretty much what the next update is going to be. The Banshee at some point will be coming back as well. It will be in a different spawn area. So where Banshee used to spawn over here in Garden City, when it was just Garden City and when it was just this little area here and this area down here before it got anything else, there is a church. Let me see. The church is over here, and there used to be like a big old cross kind of sacrifice area. That's where the Banshee used to be. So I'm not entirely sure where Banshee's gonna be back now, but Banshee, that was like one of my most hated bosses, but I'm happy Banshee's coming back because we did actually get the Holy Sword from the Banshee, so you know, it was kind of worth it. Yeah, we'll kind of have to see where she pops up now. Cars will be getting headlights. I will also be talking about this again here in a bit because I am going to be going over Discord stuff, but cars will be getting headlights, blinkers. Building on the vehicles, however, is not something that he's going to be adding for quite a while, and that was something that was asked during the Q&A because I know that there are those like little farm box trucks things that I feel like you should be able to build on. I think it'd be kind of cool, or do some stuff with like the ambulances, but he said that that's something that definitely won't be coming for a while, which is fine, you know, not a big deal. There's already so much in this game as it is already. What else do we have? Fishing's gonna be coming back, so is foraging. However, foraging is gonna be more so in like our stat system that we already have and not its own kind of system. Along with foraging as well, you know, he wants like berries and things, but there's gonna be the seeds. So you know how we already have, what is it, corn and potatoes? We're gonna be able to find some seeds from foraging, kind of like some other game systems that are already out where you go foraging, you find some seeds, things like that. A good example of this being Minecraft, you know, you can get your wheat seeds from just cutting grass, right? So just things like that there. Undercity has been a part of the game for a while now, and I mean a long while, even before rebuild. However, it's not something that's accessible, but he is working on it. And he does talk about it in what he wants to do. It's going to be different from bunkers. It's not going to be like the bunkers. If anything, he wants it to be like a big puzzle. So if you guys have ever played Breath of the Wild or Final Fantasy X, when you go into those different vaults, those bunker areas, you know, it's just a big puzzle, and that's kind of what he wants for the Undercity. I'm very intrigued by this. I'm not entirely sure when it comes to enemies or if there's going to be other NPCs down there, things like that, because I think beforehand when he first introduced the Undercity, it was more so supposed to be like, this is where a lot of the civilization is. That's where there's gonna be like a lot of traders, a lot of people. But it doesn't sound like it's the case anymore. Either way, very, very intrigued just to kind of see what's gonna happen with it. Bunkers, touching on top of bunkers, since I did kind of bring up bunkers there. A couple things with the bunkers, actually. He wants to implement a scaling system with the bunkers. So if you're playing on a big server, depending on how many people go into that bunker, the amount of zombies or the difficulty of zombies will scale with it. It's a system that he has talked about, as well as there being a personal bunker. And this kind of reminds me a bit of Escape from Tarkov, or like Tarkov, whatever. I've never played it. Okay, so I apologize if I butcher the name. Where you have your bunker and you can pay to expand it, and he did say in there it is going to be in-game money, not money you have to pay to expand your bunker, but this is something that he wants to do. So if you have an area that you want to do, you can just grab money that you've already found in the game and whatnot and just kind of expand the bunker however you want. Another one, being able to sit on the furniture. This is a huge thing for me, because I would like to be able to sit on benches sometimes, take some photos, get some pictures, things like that. I need to grab that generator real fast. I will be doing that. I'm always picking up generators just because I feel like they kind of need to be everywhere. Oh, hey, water. Water's always good. I feel like I'm constantly running out. And spoon. We love spoons here. Always picking up spoons. Anyway, sidetracked. So yeah, but he said, being able to even just lay on the beds, the benches and whatnot. Again, just a lot kind of going on there that he definitely wants to bring in. It will be brought in eventually, just not entirely sure when, but we'll figure it out, right? We always figure it out. Emotes are going to be coming back, which I'm super excited for, because even when I was running servers, I used the emotes to dance in everybody's bases, and that's just what I did. But emotes are coming back because they're currently not in the game right now, clearly. But that's something that's kind of exciting, especially if you're playing on a multiplayer server. One thing I do want to add on top of that, because I feel like it kind of goes with it, is the player names as well as the hit points for zombies. That's something that he has said, and he has said it a lot over the past couple of years, that it's something that he will never add. He doesn't want to add it. He doesn't feel like it's necessary. I should say more like it's just not something that he finds necessary, that he wants to add into the game for himself. He's never liked it. So it's not something that will be added in here. So bosses such as Big Boy or the Banshee will never have a health bar or hit point marker or anything like that, or like, just a bar in general on, okay, this is how long until the boss is done, which I kind of don't mind for a game like this. Other games such as like, some more RPG fantasy type games, I would expect it to be there sometimes. But a game like this, I'm fine with it not being in here, and I'm happy that he's not adding it. I feel like if he was to add it, it's just kind of becoming like every other game there is in general. Another section, like I said, there was quite a bit. I think it was like a couple-hour video. I did listen to it. I got all the notes, things like that. Another section that I want to add on, and this kind of goes hand in hand with a couple of other things, is the 8-bit cover pieces. He did talk about this quite a while ago, that he has an artist who is going to be doing some cover music that will be added into the game. He said, yes, this is still very much a thing. It's going to be on the little cassette tapes that we can find, and it's going to be in the boom boxes. Boom boxes are already in the game. Cassette tapes obviously are not, but it will be eventually added on there. And touching on that, he is going to be continuously bringing items into the game. There will be more and more items as this game goes on. There's already more items in this game than there were with the original Garden City too. So I'm very, very excited for that. Let's see here, what else? We've already touched on this. Sorry, I'm just kind of going through my notes, something I always do. I try to make a lot of notes. Building interiors, kind of going on with like the more items. Building interiors, he wants to add more. He's gonna add more. He just said, like, he really wants this place to feel lived in. He wants it to feel like alive. So he is gonna continuously be working on the building interiors. He says that, yes, there are interiors, but he wants to keep adding more just so it feels really lived in. Eventually at some point there will be a glider of sorts, which I find extremely fun, especially when you get onto those really, really tall buildings. What am I gonna do here? Because zombies, I feel like, can go up from here. Maybe we just add like a post. Maybe I do like a little thing back here. Maybe that's what I'll do. I'll do like a little watchtower thing back here, a mini one, and we'll kind of go from there. But anyway, so yeah, so the gliders, somebody even suggested zip lines between the buildings. I think, you know, the idea of you having to go up there and build a zip line to go between the buildings would be a lot of fun. I don't know if he saw that or if he agreed to it or anything like that. That wasn't something that I heard. But there will be a glider of sorts, and I think that's just going to be so much fun, especially for a game like this where, you know, there are some really tall buildings that, you know, now all of a sudden you have to like run down from them instead of, you know, just kind of jumping off, or even like a mini parachute, things like that. So yeah, so we'll kind of see how that goes. Do we want this? I'd at least want that. At least want that. Just gonna beat up some zombies while we're here. The zombie types, he's happy with the way that the zombies move. Speaking of zombies, he's happy with the way the zombies move, but he's not entirely thrilled with the full system. He definitely wants to bring in more models and stuff like that for the zombies, kind of make them a bit more varied. So I know that's something that he is constantly working on. And then on top of zombies, just because it still kind of goes together as it is a model, we have those mannequins. He wants to be able to have it to where the mannequins you can dress, which is great and all, but something with the Unreal Engine makes them, I don't remember exactly what he said, but it kind of makes it a bit hard because he has to do like a lot of meshing and stuff. Like they're really heavy on some resources and things, I suppose. So he's just kind of waiting on a better system from Unreal Engine to kind of get in there before we can start dressing the mannequins. But I think dressing the mannequins is going to be really cool, especially for somebody like me who does build like a lot of stores or decorates a lot, and just having mannequins around and being able to put stuff on them would be kind of nice. That way they're not just always naked. Not even that, I have a fear of mannequins, okay, and maybe addressing them might help. I don't know, it might even make it worse. We'll have to see. Now I do have some mannequins around, and yes, I do realize it's a game, but I have been tortured with mannequins a little too much, and the same thing with dolls. It's fine, okay, it's just, it is what it is. Hey, dragon fruit is great. Anyway, armor visuals. So I do wear armor. We do have armor. Ignore that. Freaking things. The heavy armor, stuff like that. He does plan on making it visual. He doesn't like the fact that it's not visual right now. It is something that he's working on, which is how it was before in the old Garden Cities. You could see your armor, if I remember correctly, maybe. I actually don't remember, but he is planning on making it visual. There is a GPS in the works, which I find kind of intriguing because it's not a very large, like it's a large map, but it's not a very large map, and we do have the compass system at the top. And I think if you're on the map, you can kind of see where you are, which is fine. Somebody did bring up the air containers, or the airdrops that we get sometimes. He does not plan on bringing those back, or he does not plan on making those markable, just because it's nothing that he's ever wanted. He said, you know, like, because you already have the red smoke and stuff, so obviously if you get high enough you can see the red smoke and things, but that's pretty much it. But he is planning on a GPS where you can also be able to mark stuff on the map. So I don't know, it's just kind of interesting to me. Again, the more items, specific items. Oh yeah. Okay, so sorry. I have to remind myself sometimes when I'm talking about what I've said in the game. He just did a PvP event. And this PvP event included a crown if you beat him and whatnot. I don't know if anybody got it. I didn't really watch it too much. Again, I wasn't able to stay long enough, unfortunately. But he is bringing a PvP, or those events that he's doing where he gets items like that or gives away items like that. He is going to be doing PvE style events, so that way you can also earn those items, which I think is really fair and nice, especially for somebody who doesn't do a lot of PvP. I'm more PvE. If I hop in a server, it's really just PvE, things like that. But he is going to be bringing those PvP style events to just PvE, so that way you can still earn those items. There is going to be an event coming up. It's going to be an Easter event. It's going to be kind of like the gnomes, where you have to go around and hunt the gnomes, but this is going to range not just on Garden City, but also on Delta 2, which I find pretty cool. And so it's going to be an Easter egg event, limited time, but on a much larger scale. So I'm very, very intrigued to see where that goes. And last but not least, from his Q&A, again, if you want to see this, you know, just go over, check out his page and everything will be there. But another thing that he did touch on that people brought up quite often was the pets. You know, pets in the game, how is that going to work? Things like that. So there will be pets eventually, but whereas like a dog that goes around and like fights zombies with you is going to be much, much later on. But he does want to bring in things like, you know, little chickens that are just kind of there. They're animals. They just kind of chill. Stuff like that. So with that being said, I'm actually going to run back this way. I mainly came on here because I need more metal to finish up our stuff. This, if you guys don't know, if you guys are just new here, this is my old town that I was working on, did a lot of work in. I am still moving stuff from here and whatnot. The reason why we're not building in this anymore is because a lot of the, well, not a lot, but some of the buildings have moved, and it's going to take more time for me to kind of try and move everything, try and scale everything than it is to just kind of go somewhere new and let's start fresh and go from there. But yeah, that's kind of what we got going on. But I want to get back into, it's going to take me a minute. I want to get back into, let's at least go to a safety zone. I guess we can go to the diner. The diner's kind of empty though. And a lot of the stuff, because he is bringing a lot more interiors, sometimes I have a lot of trouble. Like this used to be my toy store, and then it got all messed up with the newer interiors and things, and it just kind of became a hassle. Can I go into my own home, please? Thanks, that'd be great. All right. We'll just kind of look out here. So over here on Discord, okay, here we go. So there's some stuff that I do want to bring up over here that, again, not a lot of people kind of see. So this is over also on my Discord. I do have it to where any news and updates that we get from DeadPoly are over onto my Discord as well. So Garden City renovation, there is a big renovation going on. I'm very excited for it because it's going to bring a ton to the game. It's going to bring a lot more into the game. Things that I feel are super, super important. So bases built in the green circles should largely be unaffected from the large changes. I will show you guys the map, which is this map here. So anything that's green is going to be pretty much unchanged, unaffected. Everywhere else, however, and I know I'm can't see full all of it, but there's gonna be areas and stuff around here where everything will kind of change, but a lot of this will generally be unchanged. So he's gonna be adding a prison, observatory, laboratory, a large dam, a shipping port, multiple rivers, lakes, cabins, farms, campgrounds, and other small areas in the wilderness. All mountains are being redone to be more traversable, buildable, and more fun to explore, which is gonna be super, super nice. On point with that, especially for the airdrops, because airdrops sometimes are impossible to get to unless you already have like pre-built stuff there. More roads to the newly created points of interest, random small caches and bases around. Be posting some snippets and sneak peeks in the coming weeks. I've said in the past I don't really like fancy modifying the map. I don't really fancy modifying the map players are playing on because the losing progress is never fun, but at the end of the day, we're still in early access and these changes are very much needed to continue pushing the game forward. The map needs to be a lot more fun to explore and feel much more alive and immersive, and I 100% agree with that, because right now as you click on the map and you're running into these areas, there's no point. There's some deer and bears and stuff down here and the same thing up here, but otherwise there's not a lot going on. I know that there's some new bunkers. I don't know where all the bunkers are just yet. I'm probably going to be reaching out to somebody here soon, be like, hey, can you kind of help me with some of these bunkers, as well as we're just probably going to explore and look at the bunkers. I personally don't always like going in the bunkers because of my anxiety, and I realize it's in a game, but one thing about me and my ADHD, as well as just my whole gaming life in general, is I really put myself into the game when I'm doing this, especially if I'm playing a game that's first person. And sometimes, I freak myself out. So it just happens, but we will be doing at some point more the bunkers. But like I said, going back on where he said, just making it a lot more fun. I'm very excited to see these different things and, being able to go into these places and doing something. What else do we have here? So I'm working much more on an involved crafting system where to craft more advanced objects. You'll first need more specific ingredients, such as the dew collector. Right now it's just some raw materials like wood, metal, and fiber. What he wants later is a tarp, a barrel, and some wood, and probably refined wood for a nicer version. Now I have a ton of dew collectors on the world that we're currently in, so I'm very curious to see what else we'd get. You'd craft the tarp with some materials and craft the barrel with some metal and then combine them for the dew collector. Personally, this is the type of crafting I find much more rewarding and fun than just mass resource spamming for everything. Right now you can almost survive on just raw materials without tools or crafting stations. I will say too, for last Garden City before the rebuild, if you wanted a light, you had to have the screwdriver and I think a hammer in your inventory to make the light, and then there was something else that required a saw to be in your inventory, and I liked that system quite a bit. When it came to rebuild, I was just like, oh wait, I gotta find a screwdriver and a hammer and stuff, and it wasn't really in the game yet, and then I was looking, I was just like, oh, I guess I don't need these. So I don't mind either way, but I definitely agree with it as well on the, having to have the tools or the crafting stations. Now there are some things, let me block this just real fast. There are some things now, I think, when you're crafting it. Yeah, so I only have limited craftables right currently, but if I hop down here to my workstation, that this isn't like another store I was just adding, if I hop down here, because I do have the workbench and an anvil, I get a lot more. So I kind of like the idea where, I kind of also have to be in range for something in order to get in here. And the same thing with the mortar and pestle. Mortar and pestle gives me, the cornmeal and stuff like that. And just all these things, it's just a really nice idea in general. If we go back to it, I definitely want to come back up. Vehicle rework is going really well. And again, I did say earlier in my video that I did want to retouch back on this because this is an update that has been done for me now 2 days ago. By the time this video comes out, probably 3 days, maybe 4 days, depending on how fast I get this video out. Vehicle rework is going really well. They're much easier to control and drive around. The drift with spacebar is a lot of fun. That's going to be quite interesting. Still quite a bit of cleanup to go around for sure, but I'm pretty excited with where it's going. The cars will have headlights, blinkers, and horns on launch. I'm hoping to get arms moving left and right with the steering wheel input, but that's just a hard requirement for me to launch with the new vehicles since the current ones don't anyway, but it'd be a nice touch. Playing around with some working gauges in the car as well, such as speeds, gas, etc. Just thought it would be fun. First person is getting update so that it rolls with car much more realistic, immersive first person driving, sorry. I typically don't drive first person, I drive third person because I like to look around as I'm driving, but that's just me. Like, okay, you can look around in first person, right? But I like to look around the whole area as I'm doing it, but that's just me. It's very likely new car parts will be added on the launch for the new vehicle system. I'm not positive how modular they will be out of the gate, but I really like to get some form of parts added that actually just how the vehicle drives it and add customizations like wheels. Very, very exciting. Actually, I'm super excited for that. There's a lot of things that he's constantly doing that I'm really excited for. So here's, the image of the blinker. You can actually also see a little bit of the blinker here, as well as how it correlates into the back. Again, blinker on the inside, which is pretty nice. And then just this shot in general with the storm behind. Okay, right? Like, oh wait, okay, well, you can't see it all. I mean, unless I'm here, but this shot is great. It's super, super good. So yeah, that's just kind of it for all the updates and things and everything that's kind of going on that I did want to touch base on, because it's something that I really enjoy. And I think in game itself, we also have a lightning storm, I believe. Yeah. I love the lightning in this game. I love the storms in this game. And something I did notice that I love that he did is snow does actually come to Garden City now. I don't know when that got changed, but I love that there's snow in Garden City. But this is just kind of all the updates and everything that I got. This is something that, again, I definitely wanted to touch base on because it's pretty important. It's making huge differences to the game. So if you're a player who hasn't played in a while and wants to come back, or even a new player who's just coming in, These are huge updates in general. Cameron, though, as a solo developer, is constantly working on it. Okay, constantly. And he does say that in his video. It's something that he's always trying to do, but it is just him. Some things do take time, and I don't mind. We still probably get updates about once a month, and that's pretty consistent, and it's pretty nice. So yeah, again, if you guys want to check out the video that Cameron did with the Q&A, definitely go over onto his Twitch on DeadPoly. It should be the last video on there, as well as checking over on Discord, even my Discord. Like I said, I get all the news updates as well. You know, just certain things there. I do want to reach out to Cameron still and ask him a few more questions for things that I have, and that's what I'll probably do over time. But I know that he's still getting over being sick, especially, you know, with his kids being sick and stuff like that. So we'll just kind of see how it goes. But nonetheless, guys, thank you for checking out this video. I hope it was informational. I hope it was helpful, and just even my opinions as a content creator who does play this game often. I'm very excited to see where it's going, to see how it's moving forward and stuff like that. But again, guys, thank you for checking out this episode. If you haven't subscribed already, please consider doing so. It's free for you, helps me out tremendously. We are over 400 subscribers. I do owe 400 zombie video. I am going to be working on that here probably right after this video, so I'm pretty excited. But anyways, guys, make sure to hydrate, have fun, and I will talk to you guys next time. Bye, guys.